Okay. All right. So,
Let's hope
okay.
this. Right. Okay. So you're asking me about future vision in the corporate world.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you got my question, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the time we're in is very different from just 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. You
Mm,
imagine you go back 20, 30 years, you made a product or you did something, and that was pretty much it. Now and again, you'd
yeah.
have a competitor. Now, the rate of change is more than exponential. We're constantly having to reevaluate what we're doing. And so when people try to run their business from where they are now, by the time they've made their mind up and launched something, they're probably out of date. We're
Mhm.
finding that the successful people are working from the future backwards. You have to be visionary in this day and age. You you are not going to cope with the change. I noticed when I wrote the last book, Future Vision, that was about 8 years ago. Companies weren't coping then. Look what's happened in the last 8 years. So the rate of change is just going to be so much more than what people imagine. What we've had in the last 20, we have more coming in the next three. So that's the first thing. We need to be working from the future backward. The other thing is too many options, too many choices. We're bamboozled with all the different directions we can go. So we end up with a scattergun approach, especially smaller businesses, scattergun. They're trying to cover all the bases. People in the business world are trying to subscribe to everything, learn everything. The information overwhelm is ludicrous. The amount of data, just I'm watching people frozen by I've got to learn this, I've got to learn that, I've got to understand all this stuff. They feel like they've got to know everything rather than just be selective. So the key point is we need to narrow down exactly what we're doing, what our journey is, and what we need to know.
Mm,
It's more important to get rid of most of it than what and knowing what to focus on. There,
mm,
that's part of it. The other part is teamwork has gone out the window for the last few years. The majority of people that come to me now or call me in, there's so much backstabbing. Everyone's fighting their own corner. I actually blame The Apprentice, the TV show, because it's teaching people, oh, you've all got to work in a group, stab each other in the back and everyone for themselves. We're not working as a team. I mean,
mm,
I've been around a long time. I remember when people really did work together, back each other up. You've got to have that in a company. You've got to have a strong team. The other aspect is every, got to find what people are brilliant at. Everyone's got to have their personal vision for the company as well as the company vision. So it's a whole bunch of stuff, and the lot, all of it needs to be lined up in order to take the companies that do this are the ones that are going to thrive.
mm. Why is that people um, are different now that you say compared to back, say, let's use COVID as a reference, right?
Mm, mm.
Why are they different? What's your take on that? What's your perception on that?
COVID changed everything. I was called into some big institutions and mainly to work online during COVID, and it's almost as if people became a bit institutionalized. They're even now they're less liable to venture out, but they become very much create a lot of fear in people. But I actually noticed it a couple of years before COVID. I'm not sure why, but it was 2 years before COVID. People started coming back to me and they felt very alone, very bullied at work, very isolated. If you don't go along with certain things, everyone attacks you. But I remember when I left school, it was a long time ago. And you'd really root for your company. You'd really root for your company. If the boss
Yeah.
needed you to work late for no extra pay, you'd do it. You'd all pull together. And I think we
Mm,
got to get back to that. We got to get back to that loyalty to the company. It's not there anymore.
yeah.
We've got to get that loyalty. Now, one of the things COVID created was I want to work from home. Everyone's got to work from home. And I regularly say to people, if you want to get on in life, go to work. I don't care if it's a big commute. I don't care if the weather's bad or the trains are slow or you're tired, go to work. If you're the one that shows up in the office, you'll be seen.
Yeah.
You will
Well, there's a
build
lot
that
of
connection. Mm,
there's a lot of I mean, all the podcasts and a lot of the high level business owners that I follow, even even like Dan Pena and all the big
yeah,
tycoons,
definitely. Yeah.
they they have some pretty valid points, and they're pretty ruthless about their working from home,
Mm,
and they they are completely like they have a choice because they employ HR people, and the HR people will kind of have different viewpoints on working from home, and
yeah.
then they get into discussion around, okay, what do people want versus what's best for the company, and a lot of people don't really know what is best for them in terms of medium to long term. Like self gratification is probably quite a big topic at the moment,
Mm,
but they just say, look, I don't care. Everyone's back in the office. The productivity and the camaraderie and getting people together. I think they understand that the
100%.
technology is really breaking us up, and they don't say that specifically in their interviews and the reasons why, but they know that having interfacing with humans and energy is completely different and good for them and good for the business. And they don't even know that that's medicine. So, um,
Yeah, I totally agree. One thing I notice when people want a private appointment with me, they say this thing. They say, could you make Wednesday? Because I'm only working from home Wednesday. I'm only working from home. Therefore, I can go and get my hair cut or pop to the garden centre.
yep.
And that really strikes me when people say that, I just think, no, you're working. It's
Mm,
like my husband, if he had 1 day a week working from home, he's at his desk at 7 a.m. He doesn't stop for lunch. He'll grab a sandwich, go back. He'll have dinner. He'll go back for an hour. But people don't have that level of dedication for their company. That they do. They pop off. They go mow the lawn or paint the back bedroom. And I just don't see the dedication there. Go to
mm,
work, come up with ideas, contribute, do more than your asks, over
mm.
deliver. That's not happening. It's the bare minimum.
Yep.
And it's all about the individual these days. We're constantly in the corporate world catering for the individual. The individual is worried about this. The individual's this. The individual wants this. Where's the unity there? Companies of 1,000 people can't worry about every individual. The individual's got to fit in. They're being paid. People seem to forget they're being paid to do a job. But the work from home, and even like I run trainings, people that live near to me say, "Can you do it online?" It's almost as if they don't want to venture out. It definitely has changed people, COVID. And I would say, be brave, show up, over deliver. That's what I would say to individuals. So what the boss is going to do, what are the bosses going to do? They need to bring people in and kind of create that. Yeah, we used to call it wartime spirit. I always remember my parents calling it wartime spirit. When you all pull together in this changing world, we do need to be pulling together and doing something wonderful. Actually, have a vision for the company. Have a vision of let's make something wonderful together. Let's show up. Let's do this great. Let's build something. Let's make something happen. Let's contribute to the world. And we've lost all that. And I'm really trying the companies I work with, that's what I'm aiming for. Get some of that spirit where they go, yeah. It People need to have a purpose. The happiest people I find are those with a purpose. And purpose should come from your work. A lot of purpose should be, it's great to contribute to a charity or whatever, but your work should be some sort of contribution to the world. And get that attitude in people, they can't wait to get to work.
So if I'm an executive, because you speak to a lot, right? You've told me. If
Yeah.
I'm an executive and where I've engaged with you, I'm interested in what you do. I've
Mm.
heard a few of your stories around, okay, future vision, I understand the concept. What would you be telling me that I need to be doing in terms of future vision with my team? And let's say I've got a mix. I've got young people, old people, a diverse culture. Like
Mm.
what do I do, Anne? What do I do? What where do I go from here? You know?
That's a really interesting one. Well, I would sit and have a good chat to you, and get your vision of the future, and what are the pressure points, what's going well, what isn't going well, what are the challenges? 'Cause you summed it up when you got older people and younger people. The divide in age groups is colossal now. Older bosses with younger staff. It's just very, very difficult. But I would spend a bit of time just finding out where you are and what is your vision for the future, and probably do some work to get your vision, then bring your people in and get them. What I'd like to do is find what they're absolute best at and how they can bring that to the company. It can only benefit them in their life as well as benefit. But I'd like to look at them and just bring them together and go, what is your talent? What is it you can contribute that will make this company so much better, but also greatly advance you? It's got to make
Mm,
people happier, surely, and make the
mm,
company stronger. There's a whole range of things, but I think bringing them together. And I did this when I toured South Africa. It was really good fun. They fly you somewhere different every day out there. It's wonderful. And I went to all the different outlets, this company, and huge groups of people. And we looked at what is the best scenario for the company in a year's time. Hundreds of people in the room. And just the fact you're getting everybody to focus on that is better than how they are now. Well, I wonder if I'll have a job in a year's time. Well, is this going to be all right? Or is that person going to get promoted? What is the best scenario for that company in a year's time? Straight away, you got people with a common focus. Very,
mm,
very, that the energy in the room changes, it shifts at that moment. And then what is your part to play? What is your individual part to play in that? How does it benefit you? Look, so many companies are going to go by the wayside in the next few years. They are. In the next 5 years, major companies are going to fall. Be part of one that's going places, that's building the future, not reacting to change. So getting the people in that mindset, straight away they're thinking, let's make this company wonderful. Let's all build something. So there's a number of things we can do, but I work with people, individuals. So sometimes I work with the executives individually. It's good to do some teamwork. It's good to do a whole range. And I've had so many bosses say to me, I wish my group were more like this, more like that. Wish they would come up with ideas. I wish they would, be less negative or not off work so much. Get with that unity and purpose, you suddenly start to get this energy and this excitement. And energy is it's contagious, isn't it? You start to bring in that energy where everyone's going, yeah, we're going to do so much. But I've got loads of things I can do. I mean, one
yeah.
of the things I like to get them to do as a group, peek at the competition in a year's time, see what the competition's doing. You can tap in. That
Mm.
is very cool. That gets everybody's mind going. We got lots of stuff. Jamie, we've got lots of stuff we can do.
Yeah, because yeah, I'm constantly putting myself in the mind of that founder or that manager or
Yeah.
the C-level person, and what what's it's the draw card and the attraction
Mm,
is like when you said about competition.
yeah.
Ooh, everyone wants to know what the other person's doing,
Yeah.
business, personal. So.
Mm.
Um, what's the barrier in terms of me saying, all right, because I'm thinking, all right, I want to do this. What do I need to be? How long is it going to take me? What type of person do I need to be? I'm corporate. I have to introduce this to my company. There's so many barriers in my mind that I have to think, all right, this can become way too difficult and overwhelming, but it sounds amazing and I want that. How the hell do I get from A to B to Z? Right?
That's really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
never been asked that before.
Like,
It's
and
actually really, really simple. It's such
yeah,
a simple process.
mm,
There's nothing complicated about it. I understand what you mean about barrier because I've often said if I didn't do this work, I'd be skeptical of it. I would be skeptical. Oh, obviously, because there's part of us that thinks, how can it possibly work? How can we see the future? How can we anticipate the future? Which, like great Professor Rupert Sheldrake said, your brain is inside your skull. Your mind can travel anywhere. Telepathy's been proven. The amount of people, there's a huge amount of evidence that we can have insight into the future. We can glimpse the future. It's huge amounts of research. I mentioned it, some of it in my book, but it's huge amount of research. So just being able to have that little bit of anticipation into the future will change the mindset. An hour with a group of people can create massive change. 1 hour just to get them to have a vision of the future in a year's time, and I've got all the processes to do that. Just that, just that alone can create. So I often do a taster morning. Just spend a couple of hours, 2, 3 hours of a morning, explain how it works. The mind can travel anywhere, and you get that insight straight away. Something in you changes. I can do a lot more. I can also get them to see them at their best in a year's time. And imagine if they've each person in that company had lived up to their full potential and focused in that year. What difference does that make in a year's time? They're totally focused on their career. And I get them to anchor that future them. When they create that anchor, their current self shifts, starts to change. I don't even need that long. I mean, give me a day and you'll have massive results. You can create. I'm not very patient, so I'm not somebody that takes months and months to get a result. I want quick results. In fact, it works better if you focus on a fast result. So an hour with your people, give a little explanation, a little taster, get them to feel it, anchor that future where they've totally focused on their work, on their career, making the most of themselves and the company. You will get a shift. So you don't need the barriers that we're all overly busy, we're all tired, we're all overwhelmed with information. Suppose we find just the part you need to focus on, the part that will make a difference. That's all we need.
Yeah. Because you've taken me through, and I've read your book, and I've walked myself through the guided processes in the book. Okay. And I'm sure you get this question a lot because you do a lot of workshops, etc. At the start, when I was doing those, and I didn't have a lot of, or I didn't have as much awareness as I have now, but I understand from a different perspective.
Mm.
People might, it is, I believe it might be common for somebody to think, I'm just making this up. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
is this true? Am I making this up or is it actually the future? Because that's a common question that probably people are watching this and thinking meditation, guided meditation, it's not the same thing, right?
Mm,
So
mm,
can you
mm,
explain
mm.
that? Because
Yeah,
it's a question I had at the start.
a lot of people say are focused on manifesting or making things happen with the power of their mind, and I totally get that. Personally, I don't think manifesting is going to work unless you actually get out of bed and go and do some stuff on top of the visualizing. I don't think things drop out the sky, but
Yeah.
it does take a bit of understanding that we do actually glimpse the future. And again, if I hadn't experienced so much, I would be skeptical. I'm quite a logical person. So it's not, it's once you experience it and things start to happen, then you start to say, oh my word, that is the house I saw. I'm now going to buy it. That is the person I saw myself with in the future. Now I'm with them. So it's kind of experience, but it's natural for the brain to think I'm making it up. And that's the logic, especially with business people. They
Yeah.
they often overthink, and overthinkers will get in the way of themselves. And what I always say, go pretend you're making it up. Just let the information come, see if it works out. If
Yeah. Yeah.
See if it works out. 3 times I've moved into properties I'd previously seen. I had no idea where they were, but I ended up living in them. One of them didn't exist at the time I saw it, and it was very, very unusual property. It wasn't something you could just imagine. It was the first time anything like that had ever been made. So the amount of times I've seen myself in a certain scenario and thought, where on earth is that? And then I see myself, and I find myself in that place. So it's one of them things. Yeah, I would expect people to be a bit skeptical. Yeah, I'm making it up because that's how that's how we think. Our logical brain thinks. And I would say, tell your logical brain to just step aside. Supposing this works. Supposing you
Yeah.
can glimpse the future and know exactly what you need to do. Just supposing, let's give it a go. So every time
Yeah.
that other bit says I'm making it up, just turn to it. Look, can you go away for a little while? I want to give this a go because it really does work. We really do. People think we're visualizing what we want to happen. We go beyond what people's imagination is actually limited compared to what we do.
Yeah. And I guess if you can imagine, like if you imagine it, then it's done, I guess, because
Yeah.
if there's no time and space, then your thoughts have already manifested it just in a different realm and dimension. So do you want it to become a reality now or you don't? You can choose, right?
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
guess
You're in
that
control.
that
Yeah.
kind of blows out and the false premise of am I making it up? I mean,
Yeah.
that's how I understand what you've just said in a different perspective or words. Yeah. But I could imagine. So I guess where I'm trying to go with this is, let's say um, we've got a group. You're running the process. People are going to be thinking about that, and it's just the conscious mind thinking, "All right, I'm making it up." But then
Yeah.
your process allows them to detach from that.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, then that's when I guess the application and the execution comes, right? Like you said, you can't just manifest and expect it to happen. The business has to get together then. And then we would obviously work with the clients to actually make that become a reality through
Mm.
business
You,
strategy and planning and team
yeah,
execution.
you got to kind of put some processes. It's
Mm,
like I moved 3 times into properties I've seen, but I did put my house on the market. I did keep my eyes open for property. Nobody's
mm,
going to knock on my front door and go, would you like to move into that house? You know, so you do, yeah. But the other thing is that's really important is when you tap into your future self that is in a better future, that's absolutely made the most. There's something different about that future you. People right now are full of doubt, full of worry, stressed, overthinking, overwhelmed. They're making bad decisions because they're acting out of fear or stress. That future you who's made all the right decisions, is living up to their full potential, and you
yeah,
anchor that feeling. Once they feel that and bring it back to their current time, that's the bit so many people forget. Bring it back, that energy, bring that future you back to current time. What would they do now? How would they be different? Do you know, even stance comes into it. There's been a lot of research that how people stand makes a big difference in how they operate and how other people see them. Yeah,
how
you
they
know it can.
stand.
Yeah, their stance. There's,
Oh, stance. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
their stance, how they stand. There's a
Mm,
huge amount of research gone into this, and we've all done it. We've all been somewhere, and somebody walks into the room, and there's something about them. You know there's somebody, they're modest, they're quiet, they're not being showy, they're not being loud, but they got that air. Well, what we want is that air, that energy of that future you who's
yep,
done it, who's got the big promotion, who's pulled off the big deal for the company. There's something different in the way they walk and come across. You
yep.
bring that back to now, you start having that energy around you now, people treat you different.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. Um, when people are working in a group too, are they have you found that they can have the same futures? Is that something
Yeah,
is that
that
a
there's
pattern?
often
Like,
a
have you noticed that?
well, you
Yeah.
imagine I've gone into companies with 100 people, 150 people in the room. Uh, Japan was the best for that. Japan, the amount of people I'd get that I'd take them forward, there'd be 50. I think it was about 50 in the room. And I got them to just write down, ask some key questions, got them to write down when I took them through a process. And I think not all of them, more than three quarters, all saw the same vision.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, it was really good, really, really
Yeah.
good. Fabulous,
Yeah.
fabulous to work with. Japan, I'd go back there in a heartbeat. Fabulous place to work. But
Yeah.
that focus and very specific, so specific on the detail was really, really something.
Is
Very,
that something that is that something that you would so if we're working with a group in the same company, let's just say like it's one department, not a
mm,
whole company. And they obviously know what their objectives are in the company. They're all doing marketing. They understand all the projects that are going on. So it's probably they've already in their mind, they've got um, a, they're already kind of connected in a way, right?
yeah, yeah.
Energetically. So is there anything that needs to be done to them, or do you need to run through anything else with them to get them all in sync, or does it just happen? Like maybe a guided future vision would be let's imagine what next year or in 6 months looks like.
Mm,
And
mm.
would that be all you need to do? And then they may have like three or four collective different ideas or visions. Like how does that like because if I'm the marketing executive and I said Stan and Jamie work with my team, I want everyone to be united and to work creatively. Like this is where I want the unity and that
Mm,
idea
mm.
to come from. How would that work?
Well, one of the things I've done is taken to find their next big product. One of the companies I work with brings out a lot of products every year. A lot of them are
Yep.
a waste of money. So just get in so you know which products are going to be the successful ones and what
Mm,
ones are going to be the duds. Immediately made the company a lot of money. That saved them money and made them money. So that was good. But it's also when you look at those products what once they all have got a common vision, though you will find most of them will see the same products. Yeah, that's you
Oh,
have
so
to
you can
see.
you can leave it open-ended, or you can actually specify and say, right, want you to take the team
Mm,
into multiple future visions for, let's say, it's a candle, a series of candles. I don't know, whatever, right? Let's
yeah,
say my company built
smelly
makes candles,
candles, smelly candles.
smelling
Yeah,
candles, right? Yeah, smelling candles. Um, so you can be that specific and guide them into multiple future visions for that product. Let's say, is that can you go down
I
that
would
granular?
probably focus on the most successful outcome.
Mm,
I would probably, if it's a company with one main item like smelly candles, or that's the thing they want to put out there in the
yep.
next year or maximize on, I would get them to focus on the best possible outcome. I wouldn't necessarily take them to multiple. I take people to multiple to see their best way of handling things. For products, I want to find what are the maybe three biggest products. So just go to the strongest future where we've absolutely nailed it, where the team have come up with the right product, the right message with that product.
Mm.
What does it look like? And you'd be absolutely amazed at how many people will see the same thing.
And do you let people like record on paper individually what they come up with, and then you share it at the end? Because then
Yeah,
then it might be then you might be consciously influencing everyone's.
yeah.
You
No,
don't want
I like them to write down what they find. So we go through the process. They take 5, 10 minutes, write down what they come up with. Then we talk about it and
to.
get a game
Yeah.
plan together. But the fact that you've felt there's a lot to be said for going into that future and people get really excited. I mean, people are quite flat and nervous these days. There's the whole thing of psychological safety. People are scared to speak up in a group because there's so much backstabbing and people pulling faces or stealing their ideas. So people are massively holding back. Once they've
Yeah.
had that common vision, then we start to they feel well it feels like to be part of something that's really working changes the whole energy. It creates that buzz of excitement. We should be excited about what the products we're bringing out, not be fearful will it work. So get the whole group really fired up going, we've got a winning product here. This is going to be the winning product.
Yeah.
We're gonna how do we make it happen? What's the message we put out? We get more detail but you create this energy of excitement. Oh, I love that. I love when you got the buzz in the room and everyone's excited about what they're doing for their company.
Yeah. Yeah. It, I could just envision that happening. I think that would be really exciting for the team and just such an effective exercise, you know. But can
Yeah,
they do that? Can they do that after you've taught them? So they do a
yeah,
course or
yeah.
do they actually go away with these tools and they can run their own, even like smaller cells or smaller groups and do that between manager and employee? Yeah, can.
I've gone in and run some processes and then taught one of the key people
Mm,
how to run it. I've given them what they need. 'Cause there is very specific ways of working with this, and I'll train up their people to be able to run the groups because it's really great if they do something once a month to really get feeling that unity in the group, that vision of focusing on the future. You look, you go to the average company, everyone's nervous. Will they have a job in a year's time? Will the company survive? Does the
yeah,
boss like me? Is the team
yeah,
going to be nice to me? To change that, to being in that energy of the future where they're excited about what they're pulling together, it just changes everything. It just
yeah,
changes the whole way they operate. But I'd love them to carry on once a month, run a group. Once a month, either get one of us in or I'll train you how to do it.
yeah, yeah. Great. That's pretty cool. I mean, even that alone as a offering or going in and just workshopping,
Mm.
even just say, let's say for marketing, you could spend half a day easy and just then get them to go off and then workshop it as well and then come
Yeah,
back and refine it. And yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
works tremendously well. Once people have worked with us, they tend to want us back. They tend to want us
Mm.
to continue to work because
Yep.
they just see everybody lifted. They see everybody excited and lift just to see your team in a good space.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. What if you've got a team where they don't necessarily, there's a few, troublemakers, or there's some people that definitely aren't uh, adopting or taking on this whole process well. Like, how how do you do that? Like, is it more so we have to select
No,
with the
I
team
love them. I love
start
them.
or
No, you got to eat them for breakfast, haven't you? You will find the odd person that's difficult. I mean, the corporate world's full. You can spot them all off. They usually sit like this and look
Mm,
away a bit. But the
yeah,
thing is, they want a good future. Why are they uptight? Why are they disruptive? Why are they difficult? They want a good future. But I mean, we've got ways of dealing. You will have the odd difficult person. You do have to identify them very early on. And I
yeah,
find just making really strong eye contact with them is a good start. I just
yeah,
find you got to make good eye contact with them. I I would remove them if they were disrupting the group because a company, that old expression, your granddad used to say one bad apple, and that
mm,
one person can cause a lot of problems. And it's often the way. That's why we have this problem with people complaining about the workplace being toxic. And believe me, it's huge, it's massive. It happens so much. It is that one person, but people are a bit nervous, so they go along with it and they bully other people. I have before now asked somebody, right, you're not really focusing here. I'm going to send you away. You can go off and do your day job or go out for coffee or what you want. And they usually look horrified and go, no, please let me stay.
yeah,
Nobody ever calls them out because they're scared to call them out. So I find
mm,
just saying to them, look, I think it's time for you. You go off. You obviously don't want to take part. And I had one guy, he kept writing little notes, like he was a schoolboy, writing little notes and passing it to somebody and giggling. The guy who was passing them to looked really uncomfortable. So I just did the headmistress thing, hand it over. It was really funny. Hand it over. If you don't want to be here, off you go. And nobody ever calls them out. People are frightened of them. So,
Yeah.
but I usually find once you've sort of said, look, would you rather be somewhere else? I'm not rude, I'm not aggressive, but I just say, would
Mm,
you rather just go and do something else? They
mm,
usually really want to stay. They
yeah.
usually really want to stay. It's really quite
Mm,
interesting. It's just
yeah.
attention seeking. The one that wants to be a bit big, it's all about them. I kind of no, come on, do the work or go out for coffee. It's easy enough, isn't it? They can do either. I don't care. I want to work
Yeah.
with the group. I want to work with the people that want to build something wonderful.
Yeah. No, I hear you. There's always a couple, but
Mm,
they're usually the ones that need the most love. So I guess once they
yeah,
see that and you show them that, then they drop their guard, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. It
Mm,
is a fine line because one way to handle it is to give them attention, but that they
mm,
do that in the workplace and they
mm,
end up being a little bit the bully, or everyone's got to run around them.
mm.
Everyone's got to do everything they want. And I think sometimes you have to take it away from them a little bit. Take it away from them a little bit, but kindly, as you say, kindly.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else that um you can think of with FL on FL Pivot to keep future vision that that companies can use it for?
Well, one of my main areas, I've got a lot of material. I have a lot of techniques and a lot of material. I constantly download new material, but the
Yeah.
one area that I'm finding particularly important at the moment is creative genius. It's like
Yeah.
everyone's got something magical or genius within them. They say everyone's got a book inside them, but have they? It might not be a book, it might be an invention, it might be a new process, it might be a
Yeah.
new product. I believe everyone has something to offer the world. Everyone has some genius. And it's like there's an old poem, don't die with your music inside you. Most people will die with that magic inside them. Most people will hide their brilliance. And one of the things I love to do is to help people to find their genius idea. Now, when children are small, up to the age of 5, 98% of them are creative geniuses. This was a study commissioned by NASA found that children up to the age of 5, 98% of creative geniuses. You can watch kids, they don't inhibit, they constantly create their ideas, fun, pictures, games. By the time you're an adult, only 3% are creative geniuses. And it's over the years in a way where our thinking changes by our environment. Now, I've come up with a process where you can go back, tap into what you were as a creative genius. How did that manifest for you? It's like my brother would take things apart and put them back together, and he would build things. I would make up plays. Somebody else might paint, somebody else might make up songs. Uh, how did it manifest and how is that relevant to you now? But I can anchor that creative genius you had as a child, bring it back to your current time, and from that energy of creative genius, what would be the way you would manifest that in your life? What are you going to do? And I've done this with people, and they've gone off and written books. They've written movies. Obviously, I work with a lot of people in LA. They've written TV shows. They're all of a sudden musicians. I work with a lot of people, but it doesn't have to be creative. Entrepreneurs need that next genius idea. So the genius idea processes, I absolutely love. We've had huge breakthroughs, huge breakthroughs working with creative genius, finding that magic in people. Now, imagine having a team of people and they've all got their creative genius heightened. Your whole team have that energy in them. They're working from the energy of creative genius. And they come round, sit round the table with that energy, that focus. I'm here to come up, use my brilliance, use my magic for the betterment of the company. Oh boy. Oh boy. Magic happens in that room. You just, people have walked in just to pop in with a piece of paper and just go, wow, what's happening? Everybody's suddenly so alive. So it's fabulous. I've got loads, Jamie. I've got loads of different processes, but that seems to be the one when I'm talking about the different things I do. I see
Yeah.
people light up and lean forward. I can see their reaction. That creative genius. Imagine having all your team in that space where they're going to come up with their absolute best work. Everybody's got way too many options. When we find the game changer, what is their game changer? How does it manifest? What does it look like? Brilliant things start to happen.
Who would that work for? Like what type of companies or industries?
Well, I think everybody needs it. Everybody's got to kind of promote what they do. Everyone's got to come up
Mm.
with better solutions. Everybody's got to come up with ways that they put. It doesn't matter what they do. How they going to are they going to present this to themselves to the world? Are they going to be the strongest in their market? We're
Mm.
in a time where you can't have four or five players. You've got to have the strongest in the market. Otherwise, you lag behind. It's also I think the reason why this is particularly popular right now is people are really leaning on AI. Now, I've been into AI for 15 years. I belong to an AI group. People didn't know what it was 15 years ago. There was only five of us who used to get together and talk about it. But we're also starting to find that people are losing that creativity. They lead all the articles on LinkedIn all sound a bit the same. They all have the same structure. All the images look a bit the same. Movies are starting to be written. They'll all have a certain formula to them. So that person that's got that brilliant idea will outstrip any AI. I love AI. I use AI all the time. It's
Yeah.
brilliant. It's brilliant. The constant change of AI is tremendous, but it doesn't take the place of a person's creative genius, that originality. So when you watch a TV series, you go, "Oh God, it's all the same formula over and oh, you can guess what's going to happen next." Then every so often you watch something that's really original. That's come from a person's creative genius. But it doesn't
Mm.
matter if it's every so often you read a book and it's different from all the others. Every so often something comes out and you go, wow, who would have thought of that? That has come from a person. They might have used some AI in order to structure, help, shape, but that creative genius is the bit that will make somebody visionary.
Mm. Yeah. Can you what are the ways you can tell? Like, are there any ways you can tell? Like, if it's original or if it's AI, not knowing how it's been produced, etc.
It's really, really interesting, but I don't know. I'm not very woo-woo. For somebody that works in this field, I'm not very woo-woo, but it is kind of
Mm.
an energy thing. You
Yeah.
can almost, you can almost, it's like if there was a beautiful painting that somebody painted and an AI replicated it, on some level, you would know the difference. There's
Mm.
something more or real about something that's been, I think the film, what was the film? Oppenheimer, the film.
Yeah.
That was I think part of the reason that was so popular is they used real sets. They used
Mm.
real set. They didn't use CGI. There was something very different. Now, a lot of people maybe wouldn't know the difference between a real set and CGI, but that
Yeah.
felt more real. And as humans, we want real. It's like I've talked quite a lot in interviews about people having AI girlfriends and boyfriends, which will be a thing. I said that to a room full of businessmen, and they all nodded and said, "Oh yeah, 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 that's going to be a big thing." But the different that human aspect, we want the warmth, we want the reality. We will tell people can tell the difference now.
Mm.
They're actually saying that
Yeah.
is written by AI. That picture is a. They know the difference now. So
Well, that's all gonna, I guess it will diminish as the generations progress, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
does it actually end? So maybe three, four, completely gone, five generations.
That's really
Yeah.
interesting.
'Cause-
I had a conversation with one of the world's leading AI experts. In a poll, he was voted only second to Elon Musk. He was very, very interesting, very sweet guy, really nice guy. And he
Mm.
said we could hit an AI winter in the next 10 years. It can only be as good as the people. It's escalating at an alarming rate, a huge rate right now, but it could hit a winter. It could just hit a point where it can't grow anymore. And he thinks that he's not sure, but it could happen. Could happen in the next 10 years. Not necessarily, but it could happen. It's only as good as what humans put out there. That very, very interesting chap. One of the things he said was, we had an industrial revolution when the internet came along. We've had our second industrial revolution with AI, all in a matter of years, all in one lifetime. And he talks with such passion and conviction about AI and what's happening. It's fascinating, really, really interesting, a really humble guy. But we could hit a winter. The rate is escalating. It could easily hit a winter. It could easily just kind of reach a point where it stops. I think there'll be a lot of medical breakthroughs, which are going to be tremendous. I think it's enhancing and shaping industry massively in a number of years. Um, some countries have asked for AI. Could there be some way of controlling and shutting it down and stopping it from moving so fast because the speed could? And my answer, I was asked this in an interview, and my answer was, it's a bit like in America, you ban guns, only the bad guys have got guns. You don't want AI only progressing in the hands of people that are going to misuse it. So we
Yeah.
have to flow with it. It could easily peak. It will peak at some point. And as you say, is it 5 generations or is it within 10 years? And we don't know. I don't know. Actually, I need to do a process to go and have a look.
I was going to just say,
That'd be a
maybe
good one.
can we do one together? I think that would be great to
Yeah.
see
Oh,
where
yeah. Happily. Yeah.
it's.
Let's
Yeah,
do
because
it.
I've got a few theories, and I see it almost on the same lines as, let's just talk about analog and digital. So you can
Yeah.
feel analog and you can feel digital, and sometimes you can't even explain it in words, but you just know that the frequency that it resonates at, which everything is frequency, it's different, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but what is, what's the, not the difference, but if I like, because there's a lot of creative agencies, let's say marketing agencies, for argument's sake, and their manager or their executive is going to be heavily relying on AI
Mm,
for individuals to be creative.
mm,
So
mm.
that's their creative tool. Why would I want to, or why would I want to use Future Vision for my creative tool versus just, I've got ChatGPT or I've got a few other apps I'm paying $30 a month.
Mm.
My guys on that 24 hours, it's doing work for me.
Yeah.
What's AI, what's Future Vision going to do versus what AI is going to do?
I love
Because
that
that's,
question. I
you know,
love that question.
yeah,
All your competitors are on chat and Claude and everything else asking the same questions. You're all going to get the same answer. Originality comes from humans. So take what's said there and then go do a process and go, how could this be so much better? A big question I always want is, how could this be more? How could it be even better? How can we go beyond? One of the things I'm working on is to go beyond our current selves. We got to go beyond us sitting here. AI is giving everybody the same answers. That's why all the articles look the same. 'Cause it's only as good as the input. As I say, I
yeah,
use AI every day for something. There's got to be something the human will come up with then go to AI with something far more original. See what AI is saying and go, what's missing? How can this be more? Always ask that question. How can it be more? How can I be more successful? How can my company come up with something better than all the others? And that's when
yeah,
you go beyond. It's always about going beyond. Everything I'm always thinking every day, how can this be more successful, more
yeah.
dynamic, more creative, more more fulfilling for people?
It's an interesting question, isn't it? And I think
Mm,
it'll be because
yeah.
essentially it's not really about, I mean, that what we're talking about is in AI and future vision are just two comparisons, but really does it come to consciousness? And is AI able to actually, and there's a debate around this, whether AI actually is conscious at all. If not, because my theory is AI right now is just a feedback loop
Yeah,
for us.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
error, right?
yeah.
All the collective knowledge that we know that we are capable of, the
Mm,
capacity, and the knowledge and the competency is limited,
mm.
but just at a much faster rate can think faster than us, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
output, not think, but output faster than us, not think. Yeah, yeah.
Do you know, one of the things I think my books have done very, very well. They're out in 14 languages, about 20 countries. And the point of that is people are using AI to write a book. I could probably write a book in a week with AI. I don't believe any book I wrote with AI would do as well as my books. I think if I'd have used AI to write my books, they wouldn't have done as well. I
Mm,
just don't think. Brilliant for structure, tidying up. Sometimes I can put a paragraph into AI and go, can you, and it is better. It's definitely improved. I can say, these are my ideas. Can you help me structure them? But do you know, a school teacher recently said one of her best students, every so often he'd stop when he's talking. He had this pause. And she said, what's going on? You're my most eloquent student. And he said, since I've been using AI a lot for my studies, I find I can't find the odd word. It's like his brain wasn't finding key words. You know, it's that muscle, we got to use it. I
yeah,
I think it's a process of using both. I
yeah,
think come up with concept, ask AI for help. Structure, brilliant for structuring, great for tidying everything up. But you've got to put that essence. And any book you write, you read a book, say it's a business book, there's a bit that really grips you and start to tell the story. When it tells the story and say, I was in New York, it was 4 a.m., it's pouring with rain, and I didn't know what I was going. And as soon as that comes up in a business book, you stop and it draws you in. Where everything from the beginning of time has been about the story. And there's a big difference between a made up story by AI and your story. When you tell your story that day in New York, 4 a.m., in the pouring rain, when you didn't know what to do, you'd lost the deal, how you're going to try and win it back, whatever it is. When you tell that story, that's when I watch people's reaction. That's when everyone leans forward and they go, oh my God, that is that human that can't be found. AI won't come up with that. You will. And you think of the greatest people out there whose podcasts you listen to, whose books you read, that they're real. Their stories raw and real. What's the best books you've read in the last few years? It's that raw, real when they talk about what's happened to them, how they've got to where they are. That's when we kind of really get drawn in. We can't lose that. We must not lose that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's such a fascinating topic, but I agree. We're such in a we're such an infant stage of AI. We
Mm,
think the end,
mm, mm.
um, but we're just discovering this new tool, and we're so overwhelmed with it
Yeah,
because it makes us. It doesn't. It basically makes us lazy. We don't have to do lift a finger.
yeah. Uh, uh,
So it's going to come to a point where everything on social media is AI,
oh yeah,
and people will just either get sick of it or they'll be able to see clearly what is made by a human and what is not.
yeah.
And like black and white film, they'll appreciate film photo and they can see that more than digital. It's like we may end up the the human creativity will become a very valuable currency
I
moving
think
forward.
so. I
I think
absolutely think
I
so.
think mm,
I think so. I love AI. As I say, I use it every day. I will use it to structure, to help me with ideas. I'll ask what am I missing here. I'm thinking I get asked to talk a lot. This is what they've asked me. This is my ideas and thing, and it'll always come up with things I've missed or it will give me, it will go, don't forget to add that in. Don't forget to, oh, this would be a good, may I suggest this? Then you just go, that has strength in it. But the original structure and idea comes from me. It will add. It's an addition, but
Mm,
the energy, the concept comes from the human. You know that you really know the difference. I mean, you go on most social media, there's these really long posts that have been AI written, and I just read two lines. I don't want to read all that. It's far too much. And it's all just droning on. It's just droning. I just find it very droning on. And every so
mm.
often somebody writes their experience and I stop and I read it. And that's the bit. That is the bit where human where we love humanity. We love human experiences.
Yeah, it's unfiltered, it's real. You can,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Cool.
So
I,
one other aspect that I talk about a lot is intuition, business intuition. People at the top use their intuition more. There's absolutely some huge studies have shown people, and in this time of noise and overwhelm, intuition is that point where you notice out of reams of information what is that one sentence that jumps out at you, what is that one thing that you keep thinking about, and that
mm,
is that is partly intuition. And
yeah.
that I love doing a day on intuition, but with this overwhelm, don't be up till 3 in the morning trying to read everything. Please don't be up hard trying to study everything on the way to work. Don't have some quiet space, and then your human part comes out. I interviewed Chris Burrows Brown, expert on creativity. Great guy, really great guy. And he's traveled the world trying to find out how to be creative. And he said, it's when you go for a walk, it's when you're in the shower. That's when you have those genius ideas. Everybody you look at's got earphones on when they go for a walk. People don't have a second to let the ideas come through. Get rid of all the noise. Go for a walk. Go and have a soak in the bath. Just get rid of all the noise, and then that magic you have will start to come to the surface.
Mm. I've heard that a lot. I've heard that a lot. People find whether it's in a shower,
Mm.
whether it's driving, whether it's in that stillness that the mind, all the ideas come through. Yeah,
I
yeah.
carry a dictaphone. I was taught that by the late great Ed Percival, brilliant
Mm,
business coach, and he said, "And you got to have a capture tool." And it was a little
mm.
dictaphone, and I have it driving. You actually, there was a test case. You can use a dictaphone when you're driving. Comedian had a test case because he was stopped for. They thought he had a mobile phone. I, it's when I'm stuck in traffic on the way to work. I can come up with 500 words for a new book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Funny that, isn't
Yeah, it's that it's
it?
traffic. I don't play music. I don't play podcasts. I don't walk.
Mm,
If I go for a walk, I go for a walk. I don't have earphones on, and that's when my best ideas appear. And that's the way for most people.
yeah,
Have your human genius come through.
yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Well, I don't have any other questions.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Well, we can always
Yeah.
talk again. We can always talk again.
Yeah. Have we covered everything? Do you have anything else you want to say?
No,
Is there anything you want to
actually
discuss
think
or?
from that, I actually think it'd be good to invite business people on an open forum and get them to ask questions. We could
Mm,
put up some
yeah.
snippets of this
Yeah.
and then do a free event just to see what people ask. Because it'd be interesting to see what other people ask, wouldn't it?
It would be. Yeah. Yeah. We
I
could
wonder if
do
we
that.
could put that out somewhere if there's any groups for business people and just have a free 1 hour, tell them a little bit about it, then a Q&A, a
Yeah.
1 hour
So
free event.
in regards specifically to the future vision
Yeah.
and the intuition.
In
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
corporate world,
Yeah.
yeah. If there's
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
pages for business people, any groups, we could
Mhm.
just a
Okay.
thought.
Yeah, well, how about you send me the recording?
Yeah,
I can chop it up and separate all the clips,